All right. Hello and welcome. It is Jennie Wolek here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Excited to share with you on one of my favorite things of all time. It's this productivity tool called the 411. You see, I've been with Keller Williams for a really long time. I totally buy into all of the books and the tools that we have. And I don't know if you guys are like me, but in the past, I have had a coach or a team leader, productivity coach, and they've expressed the importance of using all these tools that we have. And I may get pumped up and create one, and then I miss a few weeks of filling it out. Then I just say, forget it, I'll start over again next year. Has anyone else ever had that experience? Yeah, I know. Same. Well, over the past few years, I kind of finally tapped into a few little hacks that helped me actually create a powerful GPS. That is a tool that kind of comes before the 411. So I've shared with you guys, and you can also go online and find it. It's called Create a Purposeful and Powerful GPS. Well, why I needed a purposeful and powerful GPS is because that is what fed my 411 with my goals and priorities and strategies for my life. And so that's where it all really starts, right? We need to think really big and act really small. So we're going to dream big with the goal setting to the now exercises that we cover in the previous class. We're going to dream big in all the areas of our life. And we're going to chunk it down to this year. This year, what do we want our goals to look like? Where do we want to move our business forward or get a little bit better in our personal lives or our wealth building categories? So a 411 tool comes into play after we have done all of that first. So today I'm going to work through these slides. You'll get the slides. You will have access to the video always, of course. I just love sharing and empowering and giving back to my agent community. And I'm so grateful for you for hanging out with me. Your time is valuable. I'm Jennie Wolek here in Tulsa. If I said that, I don't remember because it's already been, a couple minutes. And I love learning and sharing, and I am excited to be here with you. All right, so how we're going to do this, I'm going to share my screen. And if you have questions along the way, just put them in the chat. I'm going to do my best to do a full-on presentation. And then at the end, we'll come back and work through Q&A, because that way I don't get distracted. See, I'm very focused. We got to stay on goal here. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys. I'm going to hit slideshow, and here we go. It's a beautiful presentation because I have utilized something in my business. It's called leverage. And so that's a part of managing our time, is realizing that we can't do all things. And so I have leverage in my team with administrative help and agent help and even virtual help through a cyberbacker. So yes, my virtual cyberbacker made this beautiful presentation for me. It's amazing. All right, so this class is called Time Management with the 411. This means we are going to manage our time. Now, I know y'all, because I am you, and it's really easy to time block, but then it's not always easy to stay accountable to that time block, because like someone calls to go look at a house or come list my house, or inspections come in, or it's time to negotiate a contract. All the things happen at all hours of the day. I know, and I get it. And I found that when I time blocked, I actually had more time to be the person that I want to be, the mom, the business person, the community giver, because it was on my calendar and I was able to say no to all the other distractions. Well, I really want to start this class with a little reading for you. It's from this book called The One Thing. And I really encourage you guys to tap into all the goodness that is inside of this book. It tells you how to be productive and quite literally maps out all the things we're going to talk about here today. So this is the one, this paragraph always gets me. And I like starting with this because I want you to have a really great reminder. And here's what it is. It's on page 77 if you want to read along. It's called Time Waits for No One. So what the authors say here is, my wife once told me the story of a friend of hers. The friend's mother was a school teacher and her father was a farmer. They had scrimped, saved, and done with less their entire lives. in anticipation of retirement and travel. The woman fondly remembered the regular shopping trips she and her mother would take to the local fabric store, where they would pick out some fabrics and patterns. The mother explained that when she retired, these would be her travel clothes. Well, she never got to her retirement years. In her final year of teaching, she developed cancer and later died. The father never felt good about spending the money that they had saved, believing that it was their money, and now that she wasn't there to share it with him. When he passed away, and my wife's friend went to clean out her parents' home, she discovered a closet full of fabric and dress patterns. The father had never cleaned it out. He couldn't. It represented too much. It was as if its contents were so full of unfulfilled promises that they were too heavy to lift. Time waits for no one. Push something to an extreme and postponement can become permanent. So I know that's kind of a downer and depressing, and it's a reality check, guys. Here's the deal. We're all allotted the same amount of time in our day, and we don't know what day will be our last. And so are you maximizing your life? This has to do with business, yes, but also your personal life. And you've heard the analogy to put your mask on first, and that's because you've got to be the best version of yourself. Well, time management with a 411 isn't just for your business. It's for your personal life as well. So here we go. We're going to get started. Don't forget, I will share these slides later, ask any questions in the chat, and then we'll talk about all the goodness later on. So right here from the front, another little slap in the face. Waste your time, waste your life. Master your time, master your life. You've got control over this, although sometimes it may feel like you don't. So you have probably heard of what's called the 80-20 principle. And there is a pattern of predictable imbalance, and it's called the 80-20 principle or Paretos Principle. And what this is just really saying, and you've heard it, and I want you to really feel it, is that what you focus on is what usually happens. So the most important things for you to focus on should be the most important things. See, I lived so many years as a real estate agent feeling like I was being very productive because my time while at work was checking off tasks and doing things that were in the business of real estate, but they weren't moving my business of real estate forward. I was pretending like I was busy, like making flyers or adding a new listing to the MLS or uploading photos, playing on Facebook without a purpose. Yeah, I do all those things too. And now I just have found that I've got to put my most important activities at the front end of my day. So how do you determine what your big rocks are? I think that it seems pretty simple. You know what they are. And are they going on your calendar as a real time block? Whether you utilize a digital calendar or a paper calendar or both, which is what a lot of people do, then you have these things time blocked. So for example, you're a real estate agent. You got the 5 job descriptions of a real estate agent, and you've heard them before. You're going to start your morning with some time block of practicing and role playing your skills. You're going to lead generate for new opportunities in business. You're going to follow up with all of those leads or referrals or clients or touches or invites to events. You're going to negotiate contracts because that's how we get paid. And of course, you're going to go on appointments so that you can take more contracts and sell more houses. And so every single one of those 5 I just mentioned should be a daily time block on your calendar. Is it? I hope that it is. This is where you have probably heard the analogy, and this is a fun one, of the big rocks. And if you haven't seen it, you can Google it pretty easily and see a really old classic video of a presenter presenting this idea to an audience member. And the idea is that you have one big glass jar. And then off to the side, you've got these really big rocks. You've got some pebbles. You've got some sand. And you've got some water. And the question that is asked is, can all of these things, taking up the whole table, fit into this one jar? And of course, you know, the unsuspecting guest is thinking, oh my gosh, that's impossible. That would never work. And you could attempt it by putting in some water or pebbles or rocks, and or maybe whatever order it is. It just doesn't work unless you go with the big rocks first in the glass jar. Then you sprinkle in the pebbles that fall in between the big rocks. And then the sand gets filled up. And then lastly, the water. So you can fit all of these things into your day. Now, something I want you to think about that I heard one time is, think about the size of the rock being the size of the paycheck. So the bigger the rock is, means that that has the best return on your time investment. So that is why those 5 job descriptions I just named should be your big rocks first. Now we know that you've got the most amount of energy and enthusiasm and gusto for attacking the day early on in the day. And this is why we time block our morning routine for productivity and purpose, and then get right into action. Now, I want to say one more thing that I think some people forget about is you don't have to do all the things all days, every day. You just have to knock out one of those big rocks, maybe in different areas of your life or in your business. So don't overwhelm yourself with thinking I have to do everything today. Now, when it comes to goal setting, it must be smart. Now, why I say this is because I've seen and I've done it myself. I've created a productivity tool for tracking and where I am and what my goals are. And it wasn't clear on how I would know if I was done or not. So whenever you have a SMART goal, it's very specific, it's very measurable, it's action oriented. You can control it. You get into action to make it happen. It's realistic. I mean, I could tell you I have these really big goals, but if it's not something I can actually accomplish, then I'm just setting myself up to fail. And then it's timely, in meaning that you have a deadline of when you're going to do it. Well, all of the things we're going to talk about today are with this 411 tool that I'll explain what all that means here in a sec, but that is an annual goal. So we're going to create a 411 tool based on your annual goals. And we always want to be asking ourselves, how can I make it smarter? How can I make it smarter? So here's what a 411 is all about. Maybe you've heard it 100 times, or maybe this is your first time to hear it. I know that I never quite got it. It took me a while to kind of figure it out. But what ends up happening is that you have a one-page document that on that document, now let's pretend you print it out and you're old school and you got a piece of paper, because yeah, I do. But on this one piece of paper, this one page is for a month, right? So at the top of the 411 tool would be your annual 1 year goals. The middle of the document would be your monthly goals. And then at the bottom, you would have 4 columns for 4 weeks in a month. Yes, some months have 5 weeks, so just go with it. You might have to double up or tweak your numbers a little bit. But the whole idea is that you would have really 12 sheets, because there's 12 months in a year, but you don't want to go ahead and print them all out yet, because the whole point is that each month, starting in January 1st, you have the first week of January and you set the big goals. You divide it by 12 to see if you're on track each month. And then you've got week 1. So you're going to just go 1 week at a time in updating and checking back in on how you're doing on your big annual goals and measuring and adjusting along the way. So some things that you want to think about when it comes to doing this is that you want to have professional goals. You are a business person. So inside of your professional goals, you're going to have your job, right? So you as a business, as a real estate agent, maybe you are a solo agent. So your job is to work with buyers, work with sellers, take listings, and do the lead generate, do the job description of a real estate agent. And also, you're a business owner. So you may have things that are business related as well inside of your professional category, like update my P&L each month, or hire an administrative assistant to help me. And so these are tasks that are goals for you to be adding to your 411 to move your business forward. Now, in the personal goals, this is what I think are really the most important, at least for me, because I want to be a whole person and I want to be a happy person. And that starts with me living my best life and my personal growth and development and taking care of myself and my family and my friends. So the personal goals should not be shortcutted, and they should not be ever overlooked, because whatever goals you set in the personal areas of your life, they get divided down per month, they get divided down per week, and you are reflecting and looking back at these goals each week. How am I doing in date nights with my partner? How am I doing at being a great mom? So what are the activities I'm going to do this week to make sure that I'm on track to measuring that I have done that? And we'll talk more about the details there. And this is my secret. You may have heard me share before, but this was the big aha for me in really, really thinking big and getting into action when it came to creating a well-rounded 411 tool, was page 114 of the one thing. Now, these are 7 areas of your life: spiritual life, physical health, personal life, key relationships, job, business, finances. This is just what these authors share. These may not be your areas of life. Maybe you don't need all of those or care about all those, or you have different ones. So adjust it to be what matters most to you. Maybe you need to get smaller in that to go bigger. That's just a framework for thinking differently. So whenever you're going to create your 411, you're going to start with your annual goals. Where are you going? Now, remember, I encouraged you to watch and understand the GPS tool first. So the GPS stands for 1 big goal, 3 priorities, and 5 strategies or steps inside of each of those priorities. So whenever you have built out an annual plan, maybe it's your business plan, and then maybe you have a personal GPS, then you get to see, as you keep chunking it down and thinking through what are the steps I need to take to achieve that, those pieces then become your annual goals. So I'll just share with you guys while we're on this part here. I have a 411 that was based off of my personal and my team GPS. And so because now I'm not personally in the production of the closings and the transactions with buyers, sellers, I lead the team, and I still need to have a pulse on where we are. And so the things that I track for us is that the number of closings, the families that we've helped, because that's the main determinant of all of the income and the expenses that will happen. And we get really clear on tracking the listings taken. So you can track it if it's something important to you, that you lead generate a certain number of hours a day, or that you make a certain number of contacts a day. We've just adjusted ours to be the listings that we take then lead to the closings that we have. So for us, we have mapped it out to determine that we need to take 206 listings. This is buyer and seller listings, in order to achieve our goal of 180 families served. So this comes from the economic model spreadsheet, and I'm happy to share it, and I've shared it before. It's something that comes directly from the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, and it's a tool that you just plug in your goals and plug in your numbers, and it spits out what they should be based on your conversion rates. So we track closings, listings taken, and then something that is important to us is generating referrals and reviews. So each week I have it on my 411 to see if we delivered a great experience to our clients through sharing our mission and our promise, then we should be asking for and receiving referrals and reviews. So did we? See, everything that I have on here is measurable and trackable. Did we do it? Did we not do it? Yes or no? So I know if we're winning, if we're losing, or where we need to adjust. The other thing that's important on our team is giving back. So giving is a goal. So we set a goal of giving $18,000 to our community. So my top goal on the giving category is, how much have we given yet so far? Well, I know we've given about $1,000 because we've had 2 events and both had a giving piece on it that we donated to those nonprofits. So I'm able to see if we're on or off with that goal. Another goal we have is our profit. So this, again, is a part of the economic model spreadsheet. It tallies up if we have, the cost of sales. And I know this gets into a lot of math and numbers. So you may not want to track profit if you don't want to, but it does. I do, because that's why I'm in business, is to be profitable. So I can see, have we made any profit? Nope, not yet this year, but we will, because we're going to get there, right? The other main thing that I track, and I'm just really diving deep into ideas for you guys to rip off and duplicate, because I learned that the number of METs that we have in our database equals the return on our investment of our database is based on the number of METs. So we are just under a 5% return on our database with the number of closings that we have. That might sound a little silly, and it's confusing. I have a spreadsheet that you guys are welcome to have. It's called the database return on investment. But the whole thinking here is that if we are purposefully adding value and touching our database with calls and emails and communication and events and giveaways and fun, then we should expect a return on that they will either be clients again, they will refer people to us. So our goal is to grow our database based on the math, so that is able to be tracked each week, each month. Are we on track for growing our database? For example, our MET database, I have a goal that we're going to grow it to 3547, because the math on that equals the number of families that we're choosing to help, 180. Well, I know that I just updated it this week and we're like at 2,300. So there's still a gap. So now I'm able to see each week, okay, how do we add more people to our database? How do we add more people to our database? So those are the important categories that I have inside of my professional goals. But when it comes to my personal goals, I just want to give you guys ideas, because sometimes you may hear these classes and you're like, I don't even know where to start. So this is what I have. I love to travel. You guys, I love to travel. I love to travel for fun. I love to travel to learn. And I'm blessed that sometimes I get to travel to earn. Like I get to go teach a class somewhere and they pay me. Heck yeah. So I am tracking how many times that I get to travel and where I'm going, and making sure that that is a part of my annual plan. I also have a goal to connect deeply with family and friends. So each week I can go, hey, have I had a girls' night out or a date night or time alone with Mia, or have I seen my extended family? And that is just always top of mind for me, to remember to not forget the ones that I love the most. I also like tracking health and wellness kind of goals. So for me, I just want to track that I am drinking 64 ounces of water a day. There's tons of great apps that you can do that. Hydration is really important. And so I can tell, did I drink that amount of water or not? I like to get in enough steps to move my body. I like exercising. And so how I have it here is I have that I'm going to move at least 5K a day. So that, 3.1 is a 5K. And so I found through my Apple Watch and my steps, I could see that was about 6,400 steps. So I'm not doing the 10,000 steps. I'm doing at least 5K a day, and that helps me keep my body moving and feeling good. But on top of that, I love to also exercise in other ways because that makes me feel good and strong and mentally aware and alert and all the goodness that comes with exercise. So I have 260 workouts. And when you do the math, that's 5 workouts a week. So for me, I consider a workout a bar 3 class, a hot yoga class, or walking more than 2 miles. So I defined it for myself of how I get to check off on if that was the case or not. And then I added another category that I wanted to read at least 12 new books and listen to 6 new podcasts. That's not a really big number because I'm always listening and absorbing things, but I wanted to start tracking those things just so I could remember what books I've listened to and all that stuff. Now, one extra little other idea that I have is on top of the annual goals, off to the side, I created a whole new column, and it's called wealth, because I knew years ago that I was not where I wanted to be in my net worth or tracking or investment properties. And so now I have some categories over there about, at first it was just learn about wealth. So that was listening to podcasts or reading books. Now it's about having business reserves where they need to be, any other, growing net worth and tracking all those things and setting goals around it. So that is just the overview for you guys to start with in your annual planning. That's an example. Then you're going to take your monthly goals. So everything I just said had a number associated with it. And all you do is divide by 12. And there's your monthly goals. So you would start with your annual goals and then your monthly goals, and then move on down to your weekly goals. So how you want to do this is your weekly goals are not all planned out all yet. You start with the month and you look at where you've been and where you're going and what that new number needs to be, and you move through it as you go. So you just plan 1 week at a time. Now, a trick I learned from my coach was the things that are inside of your weekly goals are not just big rocks. These are ginormous rocks. This is not a to-do list. This is your success list. So what is it that's the most important thing you do in these different areas of your life this week to move yourself forward? And how are you going to achieve it? And when are you going to accomplish it? And the number one question is how will you know if you did? And this is why it needs to be SMART. Okay, now I'll go through this and you guys will get this idea here is, creating your plan based on your goals, you need to really think big and specific. So, you could start out small and I don't know what I want. Well, if you don't stretch yourself and strive for something bigger and more than you've ever imagined, then you may just end up settling and not even getting anywhere. I'd rather aim high and come a little shorter than what I thought was even possible than aiming low and really just not even succeeding at all. So what some examples of this could sound like is, say, let's start with circle number 4. It can be specific, but it's really small. So if the question you ask yourself is, what can I do to increase my sales by 5%? Does 5% really change the trajectory of your life, of people in your world? Is that enough? Is that big enough? Is that scary? Maybe not. Or what can I do to increase sales? It's broad and it's small. And so that doesn't really get you anywhere. So what if instead you start asking a little bit bigger questions like, what can I do to double my sales? Whoa, that feels big, but then how is it specific? So let's go to big and specific. That is, what can I do to double sales in 6 months? Now you got to think creatively, and now you would build out your plan based on that. So this is exactly what I was sharing with you in what my 411 looks like. Another one of my really great hacks that I love sharing is that, and this is just a template. The one that I have comes right from the 411 template that you can find online. If you go to the One Thing and sign up, you get all the different tools and templates. I have one as well that I'll share with you guys. But the idea here is that I have this on a spreadsheet inside of my computer, right? So each month, if you ever have worked on a spreadsheet, you know that there's tabs at the bottom. So you would have January 2023, and you build out the master plan for the whole year. And then as you move through it, you're just updating each week. So January, you've got your 4 weeks, you're updating at the bottom, you're retabulating as things flow to the top, and you're able to measure and see where you are with things. And you're going to just make a copy and have a new spreadsheet slide, right? That's just going to be right beside it. And you're going to say February and March. And you're not going to need to go ahead and do the whole year yet, because things are going to keep updating through the year. The other great plan is, while you're time blocking, go ahead and time block right now on your calendar. And for me, it's Sunday at 7:00 p.m. It says on my calendar, every Sunday, I get a notification, update 411, plan accordingly, and update calendar. So what's happening is I'm getting a reminder to go in, update the numbers. It gives me a chance to look at, how are we doing? What did we fail on? What did we crush? And then I'm updating. And then I print it off. So each week I have a new piece of paper that I'm carrying around with me to know where I am in relation to the goals. And then my other fun little hack is, I am a sticky note person, notebooks everywhere, but instead use the backside of your 411 to be your brain dump, to be the place where you put things you don't want to forget until Sunday, when you go and reflect on it and add things to the calendar, or maybe you mark them off, or maybe you delegate the ideas that you had. My coach taught me this thing that I'd like to share, is that I think of the buckets of my business and life in the 4 Ps. It's about our production, it's about our people, and it's about our projects and our profit. So maybe that's how I kind of have it. I have four squares on the back of my, so that I can be thinking about, okay, what do we need to do to increase production or improve systems for production, or who do we need in our business, or how do we attract more people to our database? So it's just a great little reminder of the things that you need to be focusing on. So here's just an example of the monthly goals, and then you understand you'd get to the weekly goals. Okay, so time blocking is the trick, right? You've thought about all these great goals for yourself and all the areas of your life, but now you've got to use it. You've got to block it, and you've got to make sure that you understand the importance of it, and don't let yourself off the hook. So use this as a time management tool. Don't confuse business with busyness. I told y'all I would so get caught up in doing the things that made me feel like I was accomplishing stuff. And that's why I changed it to being a to-do list, but rather I have 5 blanks here in my weeklies under my professional, my personal, and my money. So I broke it up. So there's 5 activities or steps or things to do in each of those each week. It's not 105. It's 5. If I do this, I'm moving my business forward. If I do this, I'm getting better in my personal life. If I do this, I'm improving my net worth or my wealth building position. All right, so block and protect the time, your periods of time, and focus on your 20%, and remember the big rock story. So time blocking keys to success are to be purposeful, thoughtful. You've heard the old adage, if you must erase, you must replace. Now, example of this is on Monday mornings, we start off our day as a team with a 10 a.m. morning mojo that my coach puts on. So our coach hosts a 15-minute session with all of the coaching clients across the country. And it's going to be pretty darn good if we're all showing up for it. So instead of our team getting in the Monday morning lead generation from 9 to 11, that's typically time blocked, everyone needs to then have an afternoon time block. So we have a morning mojo and then a team meeting because we're already together. So that's an example. Stuff happens sometimes. Maybe that closing comes up. Maybe that inspection was the only time slot. But otherwise, do everything in your power to time block your success in the morning and don't move it. And this requires enlisting support, meaning your own team members know that you need to lead generate. They make you do it. That's great. And also you partner with your inspection companies, your title companies, and you share with them, hey, I plan on doing a lot of business this year and I need your help in making sure that we don't have closings or inspections until the afternoon hours, things like that. You have control over it. Now you got to be diligent and you got to be consistent. So this is just an exercise for you. I want you to take a minute and could you go ahead and block out your ideal day? See, for me, mine actually starts a little bit earlier, and I encourage you to do this for yourself. So I'm going to start my morning at 5 a.m. and I'm going to go and do a workout or exercise of some kind. I'm going to have a smoothie. I'm going to take a shower. I'm going to put in some goodness into my mind. I'm going to think and plan. All of these proactive ways to get ahead of my day are done before the day really gets started. And then we would connect as a team in the 8:30, 8:45, our team connects with a team huddle. We do it on Zoom where we share our gratitude and our goals for the day. Our agent team hops on just before that, where they practice and role play for 15 minutes before we all get together as a team. Then we lead generate, go on appointments, negotiate contracts, practice, all the things that we do then. And your afternoon, go ahead and block them for success. In a perfect world, what time would you go on an appointment in the afternoon if someone was available? And if there's no times, then you keep lead generating for those appointments if you don't have any yet, or filling those up with purposeful activities like networking events or volunteering where you're meeting more people, or open houses, or things that are allowing you to maybe follow up with all of your leads and you're just continuing to get in contacts and communication with people. And I really, really, really encourage you to go ahead and do it now. And I have it on my electronic calendar of when I'm going to pick up my daughter from school and when it becomes family time. Sometimes we can't control when people reach out to us and they need us, but we can control how we respond to that. So I remember getting phone calls into the evening or text messages that they were expecting a response. And I just had to retrain them because I had failed. If they call me in the evening, it's because I forgot to educate them on how we're going to work together. This was an aha for me when I realized that my husband, that we've been married over 16 years, together, like 20 years. I have never seen him, well, maybe once or twice in 20 years, have a work conversation with a client after 5 o'clock. So you too can set yourself up as a professional. You just may need to do some training. Yes, there are the random times you may need to have a conversation. Yes, I get it. But have your mindset around, I'm a professional and this is how I'm going to work. Okay, so inside of implementing this 411, we got to be truly productive and practice productivity habits. So I remember a coach sharing this with me one time because I was just a mess, a total mess. And I remember knowing that I was in overwhelm and I just was like, weeding through all the things that I thought I needed to do today, because when that random thought would pop in my mind or that client event would come in my mind, I just go right to doing it. And so I learned this lesson that I had a piece of paper just sitting beside me at all times. Maybe it's a notebook, whatever you want to use. And on one side of it, it said things that I should not be doing because I knew that that was not in my 20%. And then things that I don't like doing. So this is a little different from the example here, but that document then was able to help me for my first hire, for my next hire. Like, what activities am I hanging on to that need to be leveraged off? Because then I could get those over, and then my to-do list became a success list, because that what was left were the most important activities. So can you leverage some of these activities that are taking up your time? Just ask yourself, am I the best person to be doing this? Sometimes you think you are because you're a control freak like me, but you maybe aren't the best person. Or maybe you are the best person, but somebody else doing it could help you really grow and get out of your own way. So leverage with a person. We have 3 cyberbackers in our business. That has made a huge difference in our productivity. So think about leveraging through a cyberbacker or a virtual leverage, and just ask if you need some help with that. I'm a cyberbacker franchise owner, by the way. So how can you say no? So many of you are people pleasers, and it's really hard for you to say no, and it feels bad and it's icky. But here's the deal. When you've gotten really clear on where you want to go and 20 years down the road, who you want to be and what you want your life to look like, is saying yes to this activity today setting you up to be on that path? The answer is usually no. So be okay with saying no. It's a complete sentence. It sounds silly. You don't have to give a reason. You can if you'd like. A lot of times people may reach out to me and I will just share with them that, I'm not available to meet in person, but I'm happy to hop on a phone call or a Zoom, and that could work too, right? All right, so we're going to suggest viable alternatives. Now, accountability is the key to all this. I have a MAPS coach. I have always had a business coach. You share your goals with your coach because they're going to help you achieve them. If you've written down that those are important to you, then they will help you make them happen. And you need to keep checking in each week. That's why I have the 7 p.m. on Sunday check-in with myself. How's it going? If you're a team owner and leader, your team members do the same, and you have a time as a part of their standard that they're going to share their 411 with you. That keeps them accountable to them checking in and resetting their goals and updating their calendar. In the end, accountability always improves performance. Now, back to another of the 6 personal perspectives. First, we had focus on your big rocks, the 80-20 principle. And now we're going to talk about understanding that life happens and you get to either be an accountable person or a victim. I know that you're an accountable person and you're going to get on with it. You're going to find solutions. You're going to own it. You're going to acknowledge the reality and seek it, rather than just waiting and hoping and seeing if something or someone will happen. I did this for so long. I was in the victim land of just floating through life, not really caring, just because I hadn't thought about who I wanted to be someday. And this is your tool to help you do it. Now, this is my quote. I totally made it up. I mean, I'm telling you, it was a pretty good one here. I forgot to put the quote around the left side, but you guys will forgive me on that. The more I time block, the more I have. Now, that seems so silly and weird because I think I first thought about sharing that because if you looked at my calendar in my life, you'd probably go, oh my gosh, you're so structured and rigid. And actually, I am not. I just am in certain parts of my day, and then I am available and free to go get a mani-pedi if I've achieved my goals, and to have time off with family because I have been true to my calendar. So that is the overview of the 411. I know it can be a lot. It can be, time consuming to first set one up. But then once you do, then it doesn't take, for me, it's year over year. I don't have to start from scratch. I just need to keep rebuilding on it. So this may be some thinking time for you. Watch the GPS exercise of the dreaming big and acting small and building your goals that are your dominoes for today that are getting you on the path to where you want to be in the future. I do have a class that's coming up, Implement My Business. I run this like once a quarter. It's a 6-week class. We dive deep into systems and tools that I have in my business. I share everything with you. So if you are interested, you are welcome to sign up. But otherwise, I'm ready just to open this up and kind of hear from you guys of what is something you heard that was maybe a little different. You hadn't heard it before, or you want some clarity on, or need some help with, because I am here for you. We've got a little bit of time. Anything? Raise your hand because I can't see y'all. There's Victor. Hi, Victor.
Oh, hi. That was a lovely presentation. I've never heard of this 411, but as you started to explain it, I started to understand that it's really practical, scientific. It also causes a situation where you become aware of what's going on in your life instead of just floating through. So I think it's really great.
Well, good. Thank you. Well, we'll send out some templates and some extra material for you guys when we're done with this class. Hi, Brenda.
Thank you.
Hi, Jenny.
Hi.
Great seeing you this week, by the way. And a couple of things you said really kind of resonated with me this time. I've heard 411 classes probably about 1 million times.
Mm-hmm.
But this time you talked about the books that you're reading,
Mm-hmm.
and you were very specific about the number of workouts and how that relates to the number of steps. Because I'm trying to do it. No, I'm doing a 5K next month.
Nice.
So that will help me in that regard, as well as the giving goal.
Yeah.
I really like that because I give to KW Cares and KWKC, and I like the idea of having a goal, set around that.
I love that, Brenda. Perfect. Love it. I can't wait to see your 5K success. All right. Hey, Christine.
Hey, Jennie, how are you?
Good.
Thank you so much. That was wonderful. I really liked what you said about reviewing it every Sunday and brain dumping on the back of the page, because I too have all the notebooks and I write down all the things. So I love that idea about just brain dumping about how the week went and what worked and what didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
The way you let in about like making a 411 and like being all fired up and using it for a week and then going off the rails, that's me.
Yeah.
So trying to, this was so super, super helpful. And I agree with what Brenda said, identifying what a workout consists of. I like that a lot. I'm going to do that too. So thank you. This was awesome.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Great feedback. And another thing I'll add, guys, is, and this won't be timely necessarily if you're watching, beyond this day today, but our team had, we have a book club at least every quarter at the minimum. And we were like, man, because we've got new team members that have joined us. And I thought we need to go back and redo the one thing again as a team. And wouldn't you know, it's just now perfect timing that it's the 10-year anniversary. So I shared in my Facebook group, Your Journey with Jennie. I pinned it at the top. We're going to go back and read this as a team. And so I put the dates and the chapters that we're going to read through. We're not going to go live or, do anything like that in the group. I just like kind of sharing as you're reading through those chapters. We, as a community, we can say, ooh, this isn't a great aha, or share a graphic or a picture that's making an impact. So you're welcome to read along with us. And then also Jay Papasan's doing a 411 April 11th. He's doing a little session. And then also my friend James Shaw just recently did a video with Jay with their ahas and lessons over these 10 years inside of the Pivot Shift Ahead group. So not super timely. If you're watching at a different date, that may not apply, but just wanted to share that goodness. Anything else that you would like from me? Thank you for spending your time. I know your time is so valuable, and you had it blocked just for me. That's so great. Thank you. Hey, Sandra.
Hi, Jenny. How smart of you to have this new phrase that you made up. The more I time block, the more time I have.
Yeah.
It is true. Because when we don't time block, and I am 100% guilty of this, all over the place thinking that I'm doing, but I'm really not doing. But when I've been a little bit more purposeful in the past year to be more conscious about how I use my time, and it does work. So I'm looking forward to doing more of that.
Love it.
So I can get more money. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. That was because I've heard the 411 multiple times, even from you. But every time there's a little bit new nugget, and thank you for sharing. You make it very easy to understand too. So which is why I'm back listening again from you. Because
Thank you.
See me again.
Thank you. That's my goal, because I've had to learn the hard way and I failed through it. So when I tell you guys, oh, I did that. No, I did that for real. I've done it a lot. Hi, Andrea. How are you?
Hi, Jenny. Yes, I'm always struggling with feeling guilty. Like if I lead generate, but I have some systems that I need to put in place so that lead generation goes, with a good follow-up system. And that I've been working on that, like making efforts to provide a good service for new leads, for people that is under contract, those kind of things. So I feel like if I stop doing lead generation, I do the system, but then I feel bad that I didn't do the lead generate that day, or vice versa. And I feel that I never complete my projects because of that. So what would be your advice?
Oh gosh, my thought was, as you were talking through it and I was visualizing it, my thought was maybe you don't need, because of your business or because of, I know you're a very referral-based business, so maybe you just need an hour of proactive lead generation, or a certain number of, I'm going to talk to 5 people this morning, and then I'm going to allow myself to have my follow-up time. Because that's the problem is, I remember that feeling too. I took this class called Bold 18 times, and I was so focused on the contact that I was not focused on the follow-up. And how much opportunity are we missing because we're stressing ourselves out about, well, they say I'm supposed to talk to this many people, or they say I should do this for 2 or 3 hours. And instead, it's your business and what's best for you. So when I changed it to, I'm going to have 5 great 2-way conversations today. It can be in the morning or at lunch, or I'm going to meet with somebody at a networking event, and then allow yourself the time block for projects, for follow-up, so that you are being a whole person and you're not dropping the ball on the business you have generated. So let me know what you think on that.
Yes, great advice. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Anna Marie, hello.
Hi, that was just great information. I've never heard that. And I know James has told me, just do 5 people if you can, but you just opened the world, because I went and got this time blocker little thing that John Acuff had suggested. And I've tried to time block that way, but it's always like, well, where do I fit my follow-up and keeping tab of the ones I'm doing and giving those care calls to the people? And I've got to call this. And you just did it in a nutshell, because I was just like, my mind was blowing. You also mentioned, which I didn't get all of them, but you said you put 4 buckets. The 4 P's.
Oh, yeah.
What are those?
So production. This comes from my coach, Jordan Freed. So always having a pulse on your production, your people, projects. So this is like where you would put things that you want to work on in the future. So like you can just place like, whatever upcoming event or idea you heard that you want to implement, but it's not for right this minute, but you are putting it somewhere so you don't forget about it. And then profit.
That's it.
And then I kind of have added a couple extras. Sometimes it's like anything personal I need to be taken care of that week that I don't want to forget about. And then I have invested in real estate. And so now I have properties on there too. Because is there like a house that needs to be leased or, whatever things that I might want to. So it's just really kind of buckets for your brain to check off.
What was the first one, Jennie? Sorry.
Yeah.
What was the first one?
Production, people, projects, profit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great aha. Thank you.
Good. I love it. Hey, Tracy.
Hey, thank you so much for this, and especially for the permission to have 5 really great conversations. Or
I just made that up. Don't get me in trouble with your coaches and all.
You know what? Because my head explodes every day with that number that I think I have to get to. And I would much rather go have lunch, breakfast, coffee, whatever, with 5 really great conversations and have 5 great conversations.
Yeah.
Thank you. What a gift that is.
Yeah, you bet. Well, I was with you guys. Like I was doing the grind and then missing we are a people and relationship business. And if I'm just skimming over them, what's the ultimate goal of lead generation? To deepen a relationship to that when they need help or have someone that they can think of that needs real estate, that they would refer to us. Well, If we're not going deep on our relationships with them, then we're just surface level and they'd see us as transactional.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I think it's great.
I love it. Good to see you. Hi,
Thank
Lisa.
you. Good to see you.
So hi, Jennie. I have a question. So when you're doing events, like how do you time block for that? Because I find that I'm still trying to figure out. I'm doing events, then I have to time block for that, then I have to do my lead gen. Like, could you give me like a scenario example? How do you juggle that or handle that? Because I struggle with that, and then I find myself behind and with planning the event, and yeah.
Yeah, I guess kind of I'd need to know, are you talking about just the planning of the event or the doing the event?
So prior to the event, you have to plan it out. Are you going to do this? You're going to set up this, you're going to do all of that. And then of course, like doing the lead generation is easy because I'm calling to tell the people about the event, but actually planning it, do you time block it on your calendar or do you do it at the end of how do you structure that? So plan it before.
Yeah, I would think that your morning still needs to stay firm with your purposeful conversations. And like you said, once you have the event set up, then that's what you're, sharing with them. But then I would have like a 1 o'clock or an afternoon time block that is open in the week. And I would pick your day that usually isn't a busy out in the field kind of day. Like for me, that happens to be like, I don't know, a Friday at 1 o'clock or something, or whatever your day of the week is that you usually find you have open space, and just put a time block on there for whether it's thinking time or project time, planning time. And then, if it's an electronic calendar, you can always go in and like edit, like when you think of, okay, during that time block, I need to think about what's the purpose of this event and just brain dump, all the things that you're going to do. You could just put it in your note inside of your calendar that you have blocked for that. And then you're putting it somewhere, or you can write it on the back of your 411 in your projects category. But yeah, I think you need to have a planning time slot each week, at least an hour. I think you need to have just thinking time on your calendar. And that sounds silly, but it's just time to reflect. And that's why I have this on my calendar each Sunday to review it, is because then I can see, oops, it's already time that we have that next event coming up. Like for us, Mother's Day is coming up and we do a giveaway for our Mother's Day. Well, now is when we need to be mapping out what that looks like. So my Sunday reflection on what I'm doing the next week, because what does a giveaway do for us? For us, it allows us to grow our database, which is part of what I'm tracking. It allows us to generate referrals, which is what I'm tracking, and it allows us to help buyers and sellers, and that is what I'm tracking. So the planning is important for a giveaway or an event for your people because it's helping you achieve your big annual goals. So be okay with having time blocks for planning time.
Okay.
That
I
makes
guess
sense.
at one point I did it wrong. I was using my lead generation time as planning time because I was like, well, it's part of lead gen. So,
Yeah.
okay, thank you for clearing that.
Yeah, you bet. All right, well, I'm going to let you guys go. Have a great weekend, an amazing rest of your day. I will send you all the video later and any resources you have inside my Facebook group, Your Journey with Jennie. I share lots of different things too, so you can always search in there. I look forward to talking to you later. Bye, guys. See ya.
Thanks, Jennie.
Bye.